That's some state statutes.
Yeah. I didn't want to get in trouble. Okay.
Are we good?
Yep, I think we're good.
Any word from Tracy?
She will not be here tonight.
All right, call the Toledo City Council regular meeting for April 17th, 2024 to order. Our first item is pledge of allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So,
Because you are.
Definitely hit it really hard to get it to this.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys. My crazy brain. My mouse was weird.
It is, it's so bloody. No, and I keep forgetting to steal my wife's mouse. You can use my mouse and plug with it?
I
just not. Okay, but scroll down and
Yeah.
see where it says, details and the whole packet. All right. Take a roll call. Counselor Mix is excused. Counselor Kaufman.
Here.
Counselor Strong. Here. Counselor Sylvia.
Here.
Counselor Burns.
Right here.
Council President Bush.
Here.
And I am present. We have 6. We have enough for a quorum. First item, presentation of meritorious award, Police Chief Mike Pace.
Sorry, come up here. So in February of this last year, we got a call of an unlawful use of a weapon on Highway 20. Individual was seen shooting cars with a slingshot or possibly cars with a slingshot. Since we were the closest unit, Sergeant Pitcher arrived on scene, it's about to pull out there on Highway 20. When he got there, he encountered a subject that was having some mental health issues and did not speak English very well at all. He pulled out a machete and went after Sergeant Pitcher.
Oh, boy.
As you can imagine, that created a very dangerous situation where if they got into a tussle, the cars are right by. It was pretty much during rush hour traffic, and he had no backdrop to fire at the individual. So with his calm demeanor and his professionalism and his just the way he is, he was able to talk that subject to put down a machete, put his backpack off to the side, put his bike off to the side, and just remain calm there. As his backup units arrived. The way he was able to establish a rapport with this individual led a non-eventful situation. They were able to detain him without any issues at all. So he just treated him like anybody else, even though he was faced with a very life-threatening situation. So with Sergeant Pitcher's confidence, compassion, empathy allowed him to navigate the potentially lethal situation to a calm and perfect resolution. And that is why he's receiving the meritorious award. That'll be placed on his chest there. I'm honored to have him on our team and protecting those in our community.
awesome.
That guy.
Round and here,
And the best part is that if you see him during baseball season, you won't recognize him. Our next item is a proclamation for Public Safety Telecommunications Week. For Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. City of Toledo proclamation for Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the Toledo Police and Dispatch Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers, firefighters, and paramedics by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the Toledo Police Department have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year, now therefore, in support of this action and recognition of the importance of the important work done by 911 telecommunicators for the city, Lincoln County, and nationwide, I, Mayor Rod Cross, do proclaim April 14th through 20th, 2024 as Public Safety Telecommunicators Week, in honor of the men and women whose diligence and professionalism keep our city and citizens safe. Signed this day, April 17th, 2024.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you very much, Chief. And make sure that, I know I've said this before, but we got the best. And I've been on the calls with them. I've been the person in need of the calls. And they are the most professional, perfect people to have on the other side of that line.
I agree. We've had some pretty hairy calls, and they've been able to navigate those very effectively. We've got a really good crew right now. The dispatch communication supervisor would have been here, but she's on vacation. We decided to give the day off. So she's in Texas, but yeah, our crew right now is pretty dialed in. We got one more position open, so hopefully that within a couple months or so.
Good. Tell them again, thank you very much from a very grateful city.
Absolutely, and they do like you guys dropping by and saying hi and stuff.
They like donuts too.
They do. A lot of us are going healthy, so any kind of healthy.
Well, that's what they keep telling you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Chief.
I took them some crab.
There you go. Our next item is a presentation from Lincoln County 2024 report to the community. Looking at you, kid. There's nobody here?
Leave me out.
It's not making it.
Well, I guess I get to make a phone call. Well, thank you for the report.
That was short.
Our next item is a presentation from Oregon Coast Community College, Chris Rogers and Pat O'Connor.
Huddle around this tiny monitor here, so. Rod, Chief, oh man, it's been a long day.
Mayor Cross, I hear you.
And in council, thank you for having us. My name is Chris Rogers. I'm Director of Facilities and Safety with Oregon Coast Community College. I've been with the school in one way or another for about 13 years this year. So.
And my name is Pat O'Connor, former president of Oregon Coast Community College for 22 years. And we're here to talk to you about a very important issue that will be facing, the voters will be talking about on May.
Yeah. So to start this off, I would like to preface my part of this presentation. As a paid employee, I cannot, I heard the talking of advocacy here. So I may have to throw it over to Dr. O'Connor here every now and then. So I'm kind of gonna stick to a script here. My brief.
And in contrast, I'm an unabashed advocate. I can try to keep it within bounds. But I'd like to thank Mayor Cross for attending the information session that was held previously last week at the Toledo Industrial Park, where some of the same information, and I beg your indulgence for watching it again, but
It's okay.
kind of, gives you some new information as well.
Yeah, and to that point, I was here about a year ago and I realized I promised you guys a tour of the welding lab. I'm sure Mayor Cross can attest that you need to bring hearing protection when you come out for that. So I want to make that happen. If anybody wants to have a tour, we will make that happen with our faculty out there. So yeah, let's just jump right into it. So next slide if you can. So Stanford published a research paper citing that in 2023, currently over half of the US jobs now require more than a high school diploma, but less than a 4-year degree. And this includes millions of jobs in IT, health, and manufacturing, and the skilled trade sectors. So that leads us up to the next slide, which is I'll start first by saying it's not a new idea. It's a idea that's been cooking for us since 2017. Something called the OCAT. This is the Oregon Coast Advanced Technologies and Trade Center. This will be the main thing that you will be seeing on your May ballot as a bond proposal from the community college. Like I said, drawings were first commissioned in 2017. We were delayed in our push to become independently accredited through NWCCU, the Northwest Commission for Colleges and Universities. And we successfully gained our independence in 2020 and were immediately awarded with a pandemic. And so everything got pushed back till May 2023 last year when you saw me here. You saw me on the screen last year speaking to you. And we will touch on what happened with that campaign where we had to withdraw later on when you talk here. So next slide, please. So what we're talking about, this is a one of the first couple renderings that we've come up with for what we're calling the OCAT. And what we're planning with this bond proceeds is not only the construction of this facility, but also the modernization of our existing buildings that were built on a bond that O'Connor passed in 2005?
2004.
2004, yeah.
And then that's the current bond is what constructed the facilities that currently are in existence.
So what the OCAT's going to be is a flexible trade space. The plan is to start with welding and other pre-apprenticeship training, plus general classroom space and community space. And the second half of our goal with the bond proceeds is to modernize our 4 other, actually, we're going to say 5 other centers and campuses across the county. So next slide, please. So this is touching on program areas that are under consideration right now. I have to preface this by saying that all these are being thoroughly vetted, but they also have to be vetted by NWCCU, who's our accreditation or our accreditor. I think this is where we're going to loop back to our pact as well on the research for this.
Yes, one of the things that we rely upon is the state of Oregon, the Labor Bureau of Statistics of what is needed, and also having these conversations out in the community about what is needed, what industry needs. We want to make sure that particular programs that we're pursuing are what is needed in the community, both from a supply side and a demand side. So that's a very ongoing thing. I can go back to 2004 and I can tell you in the buildings, I mean, Facebook, they're still talking about that in college dormitories back in 2004. The internet was in infancy. And so the needs of what a community college can provide is constantly evolving. So that's some of the things we're looking at. Some of these programs, such as one of the things that we, when the college first started back in 1987, if you can believe that, we're having a nursing program, having aquarium science, having a 2-year associate's degree program. That's something we delivered on, but it is, we didn't have the facilities at that time. So now that we're focused, now that we have a pretty good roots in Lincoln County as far as facilities, we need a specialized one to answer this one that has been a constant ask in the community, is have the same thing that will address trades. And that's something that these particular professions, there's several more too that can come out of this. That's one of the things we want to make sure, since now we have accreditation, which we didn't have when I was president, we can steer our own boat. We're not beholden to another community college in the interior that may not have the same interests as we have in Toledo.
Or the same needs, yeah. And if we could jump to the next slide real quick. So again, all these will be vetted through not only the NWCCU, but as Pat said, through local communities, community groups. We're going to be doing a lot of outreach to build those groups. We're currently working with IDU and plumber and steam fitters on that they see arise. And we look forward to doing that kind of work.
And this is not to create a duplication of services. I noticed we're sort of saying pre-apprenticeship. This is help gets people to the starting gate of these particular trades that are already being trained in the county. The things that we do currently offer in Oregon Coast Community College are things such as health and safety, first aid, other things such as math. Math is very important. Communication skills. We already offer that, but we need to have more opportunities to, in this flexible space, to get people fully trained.
Yeah. So we'll go into some numbers on the next slide. This is going to be exciting, but it is actually quite fascinating. So this is a breakdown of all the community colleges in Oregon and what their permanent rate is, which is their operational levy, essentially. We are, looks like we're dead last there. So, and then on our current bond, which is the one that we've been talking about, which passed in 2004, correct? Okay. I always want to say 05 for some reason. So that has been running at about 21 cents. And so our combined tax rate per thousand is at 39 cents per thousand, which again is the lowest in Oregon so far. So next slide, if you can. So now let's talk about that bond that we keep talking about. So what we're proposing at the end of the day is essentially a continuation of that bond from 2004. So what that's been averaging out at is about 21 cents per thousand. So that current one will be retiring in 2025, the one that built our existing buildings. So what we would be proposing is picking that back up as of 2025. There would be no increase on that per thousand tax rate. And another key factor for the community is Oregon Coast Community College was picked as one of 5 community colleges in the state to receive an $8 million state matching funding. Meaning if we raised 8 million, they'd give us 8 million to go towards the construction of a CTE facility. So in the event that this does not pass, the community will not see, or the community college will not see that $8 million in matching funds. This is where I want to loop back around to why we had to withdraw last year. Unfortunately, the state reallocated that $8 million funding from all 5 of those schools that were promised that they would get it. So luckily, local leaders have been going to bat for us and have resecured that as of, I want to say it was August or September of last year. So we're very grateful to them as well. So next slide. This goes into just a little more granularity on what I was breaking down on what the bond is going to be funding for us. First and foremost is the construction of a new trades education facility. That is the OCAT that I've already mentioned. It will be built on property and grounds that we already own in Newport, and will be an incredibly flexible space that we can mold in a pretty short time period to facilitate what the community needs. The next goal would be repairing and updating existing facilities. We all know, buildings, as they get into that 15, 20-year mark, things are breaking and things are just going obsolete. So this would include roofs and HVAC systems and controls. Unfortunately, since we built these buildings, the approach and the theory behind campus safety has changed drastically, as we've seen. The current buildings were designed with open line sites as a safety measure, but we now know that that may not be the most optimal thing given some of the threats that have become more prevalent. So with that funding, we could potentially upgrade security cameras and systems, access control, reworking common areas to make them not only safer, but more inviting for students and community to spend their time there. We would increase the learning environment. That would be modernizing classrooms with the tech that is demanded quite frankly, these days, and is needed to deliver these modalities. And increase access to career training with expansion, possible expansion to the aquarium science program to include aquaculture, infrastructure, and training. So we'll jump to the next slide. Kind of already touched on this one, so I'll be kind of quick here. Again, what we're proposing is a just under $33.2 million bond that includes that 8 million matching from the state. That would be achieved through a 21 cent per thousand assessed property value. And that is per the county assessment for property. So a home that is assessed at 200,000 would pay right around $42 per year or $3.50 per month. And that is if the measure passes. So if the measure does not pass, what would happen? That 21 cents would not be assessed as of 2025, and the current 21 cents levy that was shown will expire in 2025. So to give a rundown on how the assessed value matches up with real market value. Real market value is what you would see in Zillow or something, is the actual asking price for a property. So we picked a property here in Lincoln County that at the time, in January 26, 2024, had a real market value of 526,000, just over. But the assessed value of that property on the county GIS and the county property website is 180,000. So that particular home would pay just under 73 cents per week, or $37 a year. And so at the bottom there, link that you can look up, you can go to that link and find your property. You could find Dave's property and see what he's paying, or what he would pay. And you can do that math pretty easily. So, yeah. So this is yours.
Sure. What's going on around the county is Dr. Riesling is doing information sessions. She did one at the industrial park last Tuesday. This coming Tuesday, she's going to be doing one in Walport, and following week in Lincoln City as well as a listening session and feedback, just to clarify things in a very neutral way. And this is very important, just to make sure that people know exactly what this is about. This is the important feature of this is that the community college relies very greatly not only on its partnerships with the Lincoln County School District, Samaritan, Small Business Development Center, Georgia Pacific, or an initiative that is going to bring well-paying, train people for well-paying jobs that are indeed transportable, something that there is, undeniably a need in the county. One of the things that Chris would have brought up is that our average age of people going to apprenticeship right now is 28. That's a lot of lost years between the end of high school. And this is a way to capture that, prime that pipeline, so to speak, as to get people ready for careers in these trades. Other point to bring up is the no tax increase, which is very important. You have some additional information that summarizes that here. And also, if I may veer off a bit, one of the things that I can talk about is leverage. This brings new money to the county, especially in the area. One is just a recent development within the last 2 days. It's been something called a free apprenticeship in construction trades that is being funded by the state. And this is a new development grant that is starting this September. It will go on through January. It's going to involve students from Siletz Valley School, as well as other colleges. This is something that we've been talking about with IBEW and other partners that will start, kickstart this one aspect of the trades that we're not waiting. We're just getting that underway. But this is something that the state has granted. There's a little bit more on the website that will be coming out. I'm kind of speaking off the cuff here, but it's coming out within the next week, and it'll be up on our website that I can share at future length.
Yep, not a problem. Thank you, Pat. And then we're going to wrap up unless Pat is, well, you might riff after any questions. So
I just want to invite the council to ask questions that.
Okay, what'd you do with Stu?
you got to bring it out of them.
In one of the first slides, talking about the different areas that are proposed, one was healthcare. I forget how it was worded exactly. But how do you go through a trade for a career in health?
That is something that's pretty much been established. We do have a successful LPN and RN. That was one of the programs that took a while, even before we had the passage of the bond. We, for those that remember, when the college used to be located at 332 Southwest Coast Highway, we used to run the nursing program for a limited amount of time in a former beauty shop right along the highway. And at least that got it. One of the things that we're doing is we're enhancing the health professions in conjunction with Samaritan to, do the other specialties in the medical field that are so needed on the coast. So that's one of the things that we're continuing to do. We're looking at also continuing some of that health training or whatever in other areas of the county.
So maybe I misinterpret the trade. When I think of trades, I think of a program that they go through for a short period of time, and then they're in an apprenticeship, like, a construction or plumbing or electricians. So that's how I was thinking of what this program is. Am I missing?
It is, yes.
Is it much more than that then?
It is specifically for what are traditionally considered to be trades.
Okay.
I think it's probably a far stretch to call, it's more professional, technical nursing, the health field.
Okay, that's what
What is the
confused me.
nursing trade?
Yeah.
Okay.
But
Gotcha.
I'm assuming maybe this helps, like radiology or, like you're already in the healthcare profession, but you want to become certified
Okay.
to be a radiologist
Right.
or, something like, is that?
There are specialties within nursing that require additional training to make sure, for example, med surg,
Gotcha.
radiology, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Right?
I have no questions.
Tim?
I'm just thrilled that it's a
Yeah,
possibility.
I think it's great.
Good.
So Pat, you've heard this all before from me, but I'm gonna go down this road again. Sure. This welding lab that we have here, in my opinion, needs to be expanded. And it needs to be expanded so that it is your actual live laboratory for all of these blue economy jobs.
Mhm.
Because with the port facility right there where they're working live, I know you guys have been around long enough to know that what the book says is not always what real life gives. And being able to have access to those real world problems on real world ships that have to endure Alaska and all the other things they do, that this space over here needs to be expanded. And we've got to find a way to do that because, as I said in our meeting earlier, I think that becomes the draw from outside our area to get people in here because they're going to want that experience.
I believe, I can't speak for the college, but I see your point that I believe that what is in the Toledo industrial park is ideally situated for the specialty in welding for everything.
Not just welding, but I'm thinking of the pipe fitters. This is where they can go and see how it actually is on a real ship. Okay, this is where your guys that are gonna work on those power plants,
Sure.
they can see, the instructor can be gotten a hold of and said, look, I got an engine you guys gotta see, because we ain't never seen this before. And now you've got guys learning the actual real world problems, not just what a book says.
Exactly.
And those experiences are something that a lot of people cannot get in a trade school. That is why, so for example, my son's an industrial electrician. He's currently an apprentice. It's a 5-year apprenticeship program because of all the things they've got to see in the real world before they'll sign off on you being a journeyman. And during all of that, he still takes 2-day classes while he's working. So let's just say his hours have been not short. And so one of the things that they do through the Electricians Union in Salem is that they have class space that they run at Chemeketa to do those classes. There is nothing like that currently on the coast for the Coastal Union. You probably need to reach out to those folks and say, this flexible space, we know you don't run it all the time. This could be run for a term just doing your stuff.
Yep.
Which would, because right now, most of the electricians here on the coast have to travel to the valley to do any of their educational work. So I think it would be while I like the flexible space, I also want to make sure that the unique ability that we have here, the real world learning for these trades folks, I think is unprecedented and we need to take advantage of it.
100%. And as I'm sure you saw, I don't know if you got to see the lab before last year.
Yeah.
So
I got to see it when you were first trying to fix it.
yeah. So you saw that we've expanded now. So
Yeah.
we've gone, I believe we had 12 bays, we're up to 18 now, or maybe even 20. I'm
And a
not sure.
class space.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like a classroom now.
Yeah, it's getting there. A little cold still, you know, I love those electric rod heaters. Yeah. But again, you know, I didn't come out and say this, but an institution like us going out for a bond, and I think this is true for a lot of bonds, it has to stay relatively higher level when we're.
I know.
It's doing.
I just, want to make sure that my point, how do we say this? You say it once, you say it again, you say it a third time and.
Yeah, and so we 100% expect to be doing exactly that. And, you know, to that point, the real world experience, I was just scrolling Facebook before I got out here, and Rob Boyd, who you met, he has his students working on a big smoker. And I was trying to figure out what was going on. He's fixing the smoker for the Wilds, the tap room next to the school up there. So I really appreciated that, but it could grow so much more, and it really can, and we see that. So.
Any other questions, comments, council? All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks for allowing me to speak.
Thank you for coming out.
It's part of BOE now.
Yeah, okay, hold
Oh,
on. Not a bit of us? Okay, what do you got?
So when patients like this, just a FYI.
Yeah, it's giving us a head up or reporting back on something that we've asked people to do. Yeah.
So there was no decision, I don't. For the
No.
Lincoln County funding of the home.
Not in this one, no.
I'm saying. I read away.
We'll talk.
That's fine. Yeah, all right. I think I'm assuming this much.
That's better than you said, right? It's an improvement.
The last time you said that, it was this much. So see, you've improved. We're up to a quarter of an inch.
It takes a hot minute, I promise.
All right. So Lisa, are there any visitors online that would like to speak?
I do not see any guests online there.
All right. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to address council this evening? Right. We'll move on to the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the executive session held March 20th, 2027, March 20th, March 27th, and April 3rd, 2024, and the regular meeting held March 6th, 2024.
Motion to approve the minutes as presented.
I second.
It's been moved by Frank, seconded by Kim, to accept the consent agenda, which includes the minutes from the executive sessions held March 20th, March 27th, and April 3rd, 2024, and the regular meeting held March 6th, 2024. I will take a roll call vote. Counselor Kaufman,
Yes.
Counselor Strong,
Yes.
Counselor Burns,
Yes, please.
Council President Bush,
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion carries 6-0. Next item, discussion item, information for upcoming rate adjustment by Dahl Disposal Services.
Whole lot that they send us, Susan.
Oh, yeah.
Good Lord and butter.
Oh, yeah. Every year. Yep.
Mayor Cross, councilors, thanks for having me tonight. For the record, my name is Dave Larmuth and my address is 315 Southeast 130th, South Beach.
I'm sorry.
Out the window.
So we have before you tonight the annual financial review documents that our contract requires us to provide. And it comes in a couple of sections. The first section is the actual and projected result numbers for our operations. And if you're looking at the handout, the first column of numbers you get to is the company's actual total for all of our operations in 2023. The next column shows the actual revenue and expenses for our Toledo operations, and then the projection for our Toledo operations is shown in the last column. We are projecting to be within the operating ratio range specified in our agreement. That means that triggers a CPI-based adjustment request that'll come to you in the latter part of May, so probably at your June meeting. And we've estimated that at 3% for this year. It's 85% of the 1-year change in the CPIU for the Western region, the BC size class. And we'll get that information, that number for certain on May 15th. And then between then, there will produce the rate sheets that show the change for each of the different services. We also provided our reviewed financial statement, which is a third-party accounting firm's assessment of our numbers, confirming that we followed the accepted guidelines for how financial statements should be prepared and reported. On the numbers side that don't have dollar signs next to them, I wanted to let you know that we delivered about 16,618 tons of material to the Juneau operation at GP last year. And of that, 10,000 of those tons were generated within Lincoln County. They did some special projects that brought in material from as far away as King County, Washington. Those folks wanted to see what the Juneau system could do with their garbage, because they were sure that their garbage would be different than our garbage. And I'm sure in important small ways it is. It looked pretty similar going in. But that was an interesting project for us.
So you said King County, so I'm assuming that it was like the garbage from a Seahawks game.
Or a couple of them, yeah.
A couple, or, a few marriages or something.
Right, it was transfer trailer loads of material coming in at a time.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and originally Juneau was set up for that. And then COVID happened, right? It was going to be for big events.
Well, it's gonna be
Right.
for straight up commercial
Yeah.
garbage, so that would have included events like that and so on.
Yeah.
right, so we take all of our route trash there, the carts of various sizes that we pick up. That's the material that we bring there, but they have brought in material from other jurisdictions, and they tested to see how their system performs with different waste streams. It looks the same to me because I'm not good at.
Well, so one of the things I remember that shocked them, and which I was very happy, smiley about, was that they thought that the only way they could be profitable was with the commercial stream, and they found out that no, the stream from Dolls, we still are profitable on that stream. And they were in kind of a shock, and I'm like you, I'm like, isn't garbage kind of garbage?
For them, it matters quite a bit with the fiber content. That's obviously the purpose is to pull out that fiber, but they also process the water out of it. They recover the ferrous and non-ferrous metals. And they continue to work on other ideas to try and come up with solutions for some of those other materials that they haven't yet been able to divert. They estimate they're about 50% diversion by weight right now.
That's probably why they look at the commercial because in general, they wouldn't have what people put in, right?
Right, so the loads that come to us, what we would consider our commercial industrial stream that come in for drop boxes from construction sites and remodeling projects, that sort of thing. That material goes along with the public material that is self-hauled in. A lot of that is old lumber and other garbage that it doesn't have a lot of fiber content to it. It doesn't have as much for them to recover. That material gets shipped off to the Coffee Beat landfill. We did manage to recycle over 2,700 tons of scrap metal last year, 1,900 tons of mixed compostables and yard debris. And there was a change in our program that we added in September, was to add food waste of all types to the yard debris program. It's been very popular with the folks that are interested in diverting more of their waste. We've had reports from some individuals like, well, now that I have a place for my food waste, I don't need as big a cart, or I wasn't composting the material out of my garden before, but now I am. So again, they're diverting more of their away from the trash stream that allows them to either change their how frequently we pick up their cart or the size of their cart. That saves money. One of the other things we added last year was a educational newsletter that was sent to all our customers, and it's available throughout the year to our new customers and on our website, trying to get the word out about the different programs that are available. In particular, how to use the recycling program, what materials are acceptable, and what are not acceptable. We're trying to get ahead of the major changes that are coming July 1st, 2025. There will be a list of recycling that will be accepted for the mixed recycling. That'll be the same across the whole state. We're pretty close to that already, so it won't mean big changes for us. There may be, well, there will be some materials that we don't currently collect that will be part of the stream, like milk cartons and yogurt tubs. For some parts of the state, they may have collected some other materials curbside that won't be on that list. So they'll have, I guess, a negative change for those items. And there are a lot of parts of the state that don't have recycling available curbside at all. They'll have an opportunity to get funding help to start a collection program if that's what they choose. And if they choose to continue with a drop-off depot system, they would, again, there's money available through this program to help finance those changes. Other than that, like I said, we'll save the details of the rate adjustment for when I come back to see you in June.
Right.
I did have one other statistic to show you. We have about 88% of our customers, or just over 1,000 of our customers in Toledo, are participating in the yard debris program, or at least have a cart. Well, how often they set it out varies by time of year and by household. And 58% of our customers have the smallest cart size of 35 gallons. We see that climb up a little at a time each year as people are able to participate in the other programs, divert more of their waste. They're able to either start service at a smaller cart or transition over to the smaller cart. That's all I have prepared, but I'm happy to take any questions if anything comes up.
Any questions?
I don't know if you know or not. I'm seeing numbers out there, I'll just say there, online, whatever, that out of all of what we're sending off to be recycled, only honestly about 6% of the plastic is being recycled. It's some ungodly low number.
I have seen that number, and it is a little confusing. And luckily I just read an article again today that mentioned it. So there are a lot of kinds of plastic that are produced that are not being collected for recycling.
Right.
And so they're saying 6% out of all the plastic is produced is getting recycled. And the vast majority of that recovered plastic is the plastic that's coming from residential programs, from the bottle bill returns, from those good sources of nice clean plastic like milk jugs and water bottles are primarily what plastics are being recycled. There's lots of other things, everything that's polyester, counts as plastic. There's so many things that are made of plastic that they don't have good recycling programs for. That's what makes that number sound so bad.
Yeah, it sounds horrible.
Any other questions, council? Thanks.
Thanks for having me. I'll see you again in June.
Okay. Every year.
I was thinking, I was like, didn't we just do this? Why are we doing this again?
Every year.
That's fine. That answers my question. That's usually
He came in and talked to us a few months back about something totally different.
Right, but I remember this meeting where he's from one area.
I wanted that.
All right,
Okay.
Yeah.
next item, decision item. Lincoln County request for continuation funding support. Doug?
The funding support, they haven't shown up, so and they were here to make their presentation and pitch for money for the warming shelter.
But I'm gonna go through it so that I can now say, well, I guess you'll have to wait.
So I'm not gonna speak on their behalf.
Good man. Like that choice. All right, next up, resolution number 1547, authorizing the city to apply for a Parks Master Plan grant. Doug?
So we are applying for a Parks Master Plan grant through the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department. As you remember, back in our goal setting session, this was one thing we wanted to address for next year. That time frame has opened up for the grants. And we estimate that the cost of that plan is gonna cost about $48,000. We're applying for a match grant through OPRD for the 48,000, of which 8,000 will have to come from us in matching funds. And so I'm just coming before you to get your permission to apply for the grant and authorizing that $8,000 match so that we put it in the budget and we can move forward with plan. I did get the schools signed off on supporting that. I'm sorry, the Toledo senior junior high. If you remember, their kids came before this very council in, that was November, to talk with you and tell you about parks. So in a way, this is a follow-up to what they had. And taking those next step actions to address issues in the park. We also, the Toledo pool signed off on it as well as supporting it. And so that's why we come before you guys.
Any comments or questions?
May I ask, please, from when the application is submitted, what kind of time, is there like a time frame? They'll get back to you within a certain time frame.
So the applications are due at the end of this month. And then once we get them submitted, we will find out basically right after the fiscal year if we get the grant. So
And the
about-
fiscal year is,
July 1.
July 1. So we'll find out after July 1 if we get the grant, and then we can start moving forward with it.
you know?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Any other questions? I'm Frank. Okay, sir. You had that look.
No,
Sue?
I'm tickled that you're gonna get for $8,000, we're gonna get 48 back. That's awesome.
All right, well, then I would entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution number 1547, a resolution of the Toledo City Council authorizing the city of Toledo to apply for a local government grant from the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department to develop a park master plan.
Second. I like this one a lot. It's really fun.
It's been moved by Kim, seconded by Jackie Burns to approve resolution number 1547, a resolution of the Toledo City Council authorizing the city of Toledo to apply for a local government grant from the Oregon Parks and Recreation Department to develop a parks master plan. I will take a roll call vote. Counselor Kaufman,
Yes.
Counselor Strong,
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia,
Absolutely.
Counselor Burns,
Yes.
Council President Bush.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries unanimously.
So the Public Works Director is going to be in charge of this?
Well, I mean, he'll have a hand in it. There'll be a lot of people at the party. We'll have the schools involved. The Toledo board will be involved, pool, and recreation center
district or recreation district would be involved, of course, the city, our planning department. This also ties hand in hand with the comprehensive plan that we just, this will be an insert into our comprehensive plan. In fact, as we move forward and get a finalized plan in, so. There's a lot of players in this. There's many public hearings that go into this. More than likely, we'll be hiring an outside consultant. That's the price that we're factoring at to come in and facilitate those meetings and facilitate that process to develop the plan.
This plan has to check a lot of boxes with the state along with what we need it to do.
And then the plan. Then the plan will be used to apply for other grants.
Yep.
Yes.
And then you can make sure that when we get those other grants, he'll be in charge of making sure they get put in the right spots. For sure. All right, next item. Approve the planning technician position and salary range. I was gonna say, which one of you wants it?
I'm happy to, Mayor, Council. This is an update of a position that is, right now has two job titles, and we just changed it to planning tech for simplification. It has the job description, although the job has been occupied for a very long time, hasn't been updated since 2013.
I'm surprised it was even updated in 2013.
And I think when it was updated, there was an increase in duties, but no increase in raise. The prior code enforcement officer did all the permitting, and now that permitting was put on this person. The idea is for this person to become full-time in the next budget year. We've added that they will do non-confidential support. Non-confidential administrative support to the city attorney. Basically, that's the city attorney. You know, when something needs return receipt requested, fighting with the machine, he has no one to go to. And she's doing that anyway. You know, the position's pretty critical to the day-to-day functioning of planning and public works.
Yep.
And
There'll also be added some backup to the front. So when we have issues come up, but people are sick and things like that, and we need some coverage to help up front. She would be able to do that in emergent situations.
Can you clarify she would?
Arlene is a-
I thought it was her, but I wanted to make sure. I was reading it and I was like, is this Arlene or is it?
Or they moved her around the corner.
Yeah.
As soon as they said long time, that's one that you all should have
Well,
understood.
yeah, I figured.
That,
Thank you.
so Arlene has been here
30 years.
close. I want to say it's 30 and it's almost 31.
We're getting close.
Yeah,
We just gave her a 30-year.
I was gonna say she got an award, yeah.
yeah. So let me just say that there was a period of time there where they would frantically call Arlene, and then if Arlene didn't have the answer, they'd call me.
Oh.
Told Arlene and leave until I did.
So, and the position, the job description was amended to kind of include some things that she's doing now that
Good.
was not it.
So, no?
And we have had the discussion with her about going from 3/4 time or 0.8 to
Right.
1.0.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she is okay with that.
Yeah. Good. Any questions, council? Any comments? If anybody deserves it, Arlene does.
I was gonna say, finally.
I know.
I would make a motion to approve the position salary range for the planning technician position.
Second.
I'll just note for the record that this classification and salary range would take effect at the new budget year.
July 1.
Yeah.
All right, it's been moved by Frank, seconded by Jackie Kaufman To approve the position and salary range for the planning technician position, I will take a roll call vote. Counselor Strong.
Yes.
Counselor Burns.
Yes.
Council President Bush.
Yes.
Counselor Kaufman.
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia.
Yes, sir.
And I vote yes. Well done. Exactly. All right, next item.
Yay.
Contract award to Pacific Excavation for Southeast First Street improvements.
This was my second favorite one.
Good evening, Counselor.
According to my email, it's my first favorite one. My first favorite.
My first was the parks.
Come before you tonight to ask for the approval to move forward with the Southeast First Street project. Awarding the lowest bid to Pacific Excavation. We had 3 outfits that submitted bids ranging from $758,157 to $637,544.65. And then Pacific Excavation came in at $462,965. You know, almost a $300,000 difference, which I think I feel comfortable moving forward with this, and I'd ask for your guys' approval so we can do this and get First Street straightened out.
How come there's so much less?
Does that not make you nervous?
When you look
Make it
at,
sound like the other one just didn't want the job.
Well, that's what I was
Exactly.
wondering, yeah.
some of it was that, and then some was mobilization. Some were coming from further away, have more mobilization costs and those types of things.
There's that too, yeah.
So in general, when it comes to bids like this, if you have the outlier that's really out there, it's because they're doing it just because. They're not doing it because they really want it. They're just putting in a bid so they stay in your good graces so that you'll ask them to bid on the next thing. Yeah.
Well, the good news too is was gonna try to share with you guys, but Mr. Doug Wiggins told me to hold off on it, that this comes below what the engineers had actually projected the cost to be too. So by about $130,000.
That's even better.
So
Yay.
So it'll start fairly quickly in the seas.
I have no idea. I'm hopeful. I would like to get this going and get this taken care of.
I know that neighborhood.
For June.
We're hoping for a June.
The neighborhood would be very happy.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Well, I guarantee the public works director and everybody involved will be very happy once it gets done.
I have a feeling the entire city will be very happy when it gets done.
Somebody knows something.
On here, it shows the engineer's opinion of total cost was $648,000.
Well, there was a variable. He had a
Yeah, that's
say a
still-
cushion there too. So
Yeah.
significant savings, we'll say.
And we had all the piping and stuff for that, right?
We do, we're providing the 12-inch HDPE for the project.
Perfect.
And I think about 40 feet of 6-inch HDPE also.
Of what we have in stock, which.
Any other questions, council?
No.
All right, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the contract award bid to Pacific Excavation in the amount of $462,925 for street improvements to Southeast First Street and authorizing the city manager to sign and execute the contract.
A second.
It's been moved by Jackie Kaufman, seconded by Tim, to approve the contract award bid to Pacific Excavation in the amount of $462,925 for street improvements to Southeast First Street and authorizing the city manager to sign and execute the contract. I will take a roll call vote. Counselor Strong.
Yes.
Counselor Sylvia.
Oh, yes.
Counselor Burns.
Yes.
Council President Bush.
Yes.
Counselor Kaufman.
Yes.
And I vote yes, motion carries 6-0. Go forth and conquer.
Thank you, council. I apologize for the ants. I've been trying to mitigate them for days now, so.
If they say this, they can't do it for this now, are they still on the hook?
Yeah.
No, they're on the hook for the.
They're on the hook?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now you know where first at.
I do.
All right, next item, ordinance number 1420, an ordinance amending Title 12 of the Toledo Municipal Code, creating a new chapter 12.32. Counselor Adams.
Mayor, councilors, this is bringing to you the recreational immunity issue that's been a discussion. I'll note that on the second line under recommendation, that what is in quotes that longer an ordinance of the Toledo City Council is both the we're asking you to read, to make a motion to read that by title only with any changes that you have. And then the second reading, you'll read the same thing again. Well, while we're meeting as a charter committee, I hope to amend that section of our charter that has exception upon exception upon exception upon exception.
Thank you very much.
To make it much simpler, this was posted in 3 places last Tuesday. You guys were emailed copies. Lisa was emailed copies to provide 3 for the public as required by the charter. Senate Bill 1576 in this legislative session was something that a couple weeks prior I'd emailed myself, and then a couple weeks ago on a weekend, something on the listserv popped up and I went, oh, wow. And I went and checked the Senate bill in section 4. It's unless you're a city with a population of more than 500,000, to get the immunity from the Senate bill, you have to affirmatively opt in by an ordinance. And that's or resolution, and that's what we're doing tonight. So hard to believe, but
No, it's not.
well, I think what happened is the original House bill that created that statute had a similar opt-in, and when they amended it, they just kept it the same. But I'm not sure why. So at Doug's, the city manager's recommendation, I called CIS just to have a conversation and let them know that all of the CIS, all of the LOC materials talking about the Senate bill and recreational immunity says it solves the problem, but doesn't tell anybody it's an opt-in. That if you don't take the action to opt in, you don't have the immunity. So if you direct your, so it's dealing with negligent claims arising out of personal injury or property damage resulting from any use, so long as it's a trail or structure in an unimproved right of way or easement. If you look at section 4 of the ordinance, you have some options that the Senate bill allows you to. I guess, let me explain a little bit that this is ORS 105-668 that's being amended. There's another ORS section, state law, ORS 105-682 that is specifically recreational immunity. What this is just broadening the definition to include recreational immunity. The other statute has been interpreted by case law to only apply to the owner of property. So it would apply to the city, but would not help any public works employees could be sued individually as city manager, so this really has broadened it to include officers, employees, agents of the city. Section 4, number 3, it also allowed you to grant immunity to the owner of land abutting the public easement or unimproved right of way. and a lot of the cities that I looked at, Carlton, Bend, Medford, or a couple more that had taken action on it. It extended to those abutting property owners. And then it allowed you to extend it to a nonprofit corporation and its volunteers for the construction and maintenance of the trail or structures in the public easement or unimproved right of way. So those are things that I put in there. Those are things that the council could delete if they wanted to.
So for council, we're wondering where this all stemmed from. It stemmed from a lawsuit brought by a lady in Newport who was walking, I think she was walking her dog, but was walking the dog to work. Took a trail that Newport has that's a beach access trail. Fell, hurt herself. Sued the city because she was not using that trail for recreation. She was using it to get to work. And so, and the court upheld it.
And the court said because she made that argument, that's questioned for the jury. That's a factual question.
Right.
So instead of being barred from bringing a lawsuit, which has been the practice prior, now CIS has had to, you got to go to court and argue, is that recreation or is that not?
And what this opt-in does, this is a Band-Aid measure that the state has done. It's going to be a Band-Aid until the next long session, which is next year, running through June, where they're going to try and essentially ironclad the whole thing. So that
That is
so
true.
that courts cannot do the mental gymnastics that they've been using to get to this point.
So basically, this would protect the city of Toledo and all its entities for people using our trails here.
Yes.
Like by the library,
Right,
they fall, they get hurt, they cannot come out to the city.
exactly.
Even if they're on their way to work.
Yeah.
Yes, they're not recreating. That's exactly what it's doing.
It covers 24 hours a day regardless of the situation.
And is this tied in with what Kotek did like last week? He did something about this. She did like a temporary something last week. I saw an article about it. Did you guys read
I
it?
didn't see that one.
Interesting. I'm gonna get to go and find that. There was an article.
I did not, when the Senate bill passed, they made a really, the state made a push and put it out there that she'd signed the bill and, you know, cities needed to react quickly and open trails and they did put a lot of the media in that respect.
Maybe that was it, but I thought it was just this last week.
Oh, okay. She's taking her time on signing bills this spring. I will just leave it at that. Any questions on this, council?
That's not really a question, just a comment. I
Yeah.
know Yahats is kind of dealing. I think if we didn't do something like this, where our butts would be hanging way out here. So the opt-in thing is kind of strange, but I know other municipalities are gonna have to do the same thing and we should get right on.
Thanks for explaining it, because I couldn't figure out what I was reading.
Well, hopefully
I feel weird.
I muddled it a little bit, but hopefully we explained it well enough.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we don't approve this. It potentially
It
costs
could
us
potentially
money
cost us.
and this
Yeah.
saves us money.
So how much time do we have to spend unraveling stuff that came through the courts to protect us? I mean, it seems like there's.
Well, it's kind of need to unravel it and try and explain it.
That's why we pay him the big
Yeah.
bucks.
That's what he does.
Well, I know, but then we have to consent on it, but I just think it's an awful lot.
You're right.
Yeah.
It is.
Anytime somebody brings up a lawsuit against a city, we're dealing with it. Yep. And that's all the time. Yeah.
The US Supreme Court is gonna hear the brand back.
And
Yeah.
that's why we have the LOC to protect us. There are lobbying groups, you know.
So I do have one question.
Yeah.
On here on the recommendations, on the first paragraph, it says street sidewalks and public places. should trails be added into that? Because you know that there's gonna be people that are gonna.
Brad?
It says, I move for, an ordinance of the Toledo City Council amending Title 12, streets, sidewalk, and public places.
And then it goes on and says use of trails.
Of the.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
And
Next
in
to the
public
last one.
places, and trails would be.
And unimproved right of ways.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, he ends up covering.
It covers everything.
Yes, it does. But thank you for the question.
Doesn't hurt to ask.
Just
No.
if you fall down, we're not paying. Period.
It's like.
Any other questions, council? I would entertain a motion.
Do I just read the whole thing? I move for a first reading of the ordinance by title only. The specified changes, if any, an ordinance of the Toledo City Council amending Title 12, streets, sidewalks, and public places of the Toledo Municipal Code, creating a new chapter 1232 liability limited for the city of Toledo and other parties from private claims resulting from the use of trails and public easements or unimproved right of way under ORS 105668.
Second.
We'll give it to Stu. Stu has his fun.
It was quiet.
All right. This would be first reading. I move for a first reading of the ordinance by title only, an ordinance of the Toledo City Council amending Title 12, streets, sidewalks, and public places of the Toledo Municipal Code, creating a new chapter 12.32, liability limited for the city of Toledo and other parties from private claims resulting from the use of trails and public easements or unimproved right of way under ORS 105.668. Second reading, I move for a second reading of the ordinance by title only. An ordinance of the Toledo City Council amending Title 12, streets, sidewalks, and public places of the Toledo Municipal Code, creating a new chapter 12.32, liability limited for the city of Toledo and other parties from private claims resulting from use of trails in public easements or unimproved rights of way under ORS 105.668. That has been the motion made by Council President Bush and Stu. I will take a roll call vote. Councilor Kaufman.
Yes.
Councilor Sylvia.
Yes.
Councilor Burns.
Yes.
Councilor Strong.
Yes.
Council President Bush.
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 6-0. There you go, Councilor. We are opted in.
Next.
Okay, next item. Authorize Mayor Cross to sign a letter of interest on behalf of the city for an upcoming grant opportunity. Doug?
Oh. Forgot about that. So attached, you guys should all got a supplemental up there from the Oregon Health Authority. I've been working with the GSI and based off our drinking water protection plan that we passed. It was around October, November, somewhere in there. DEQ reached out and said we should apply for a grant to start working on that within that plan. They did this, they tried to do it last year, but got denied, but our plan wasn't like, it was kind of done, but not had gone through everything. Now it's completed, so our chances are better. So what we're applying for in this grant, and I need permission for Mayor Cross to sign, it is a grant that is non-matching, so it's for 100% of the funds. I believe we're asking for 70,000, if I remember right. And it is to put together a new forest mitigation plan for Mill Creek. So come in and talk about that. So it's all dealing with water quality and the forest around it and what we have there. And then also dealing with the Silettes with doing a kind of a study on how we can protect our water up there and identifying where maybe for erosion control and those types of things. And identifying ground that the city may be interested in trying to get what they call erosion control easements through properties, so we can go in and help make our water better, cleaner, reduce turbidity, those types of things. So what we're asking for is to allow the mayor to sign to apply for this grant, and that's where we're at.
So for a little bit of history, about 15, 16 years ago, we took our Mill Creek watershed and actually hired out a professional firm to take care of that watershed for us. And so if you've been up there before, there were alders everywhere along the reservoir up there, which acidified the water. We had to do a lot of extra work back in the day. They cleaned all that up. They've taken care of how things work up there and made sure things are thinned and proper and met with all environmental codes. This is an update to that.
It's an update to that, and it's also going to give you on the forest mitigation plan, if council ever decides to log it, what it's worth, all of that as well, or it'll identify areas that need to be cleared or logged or not logged. It'll do a lot of that up there.
Yeah, this price has gone up compared to back in the mid 2000s.
And it's all centered around sustaining your water source and keeping your water, taking some of the shade off the water so we don't get the algal blooms and those types of things. And because that's why we come off Mill Creek, is we get too many the algae begins blooming, and you get that funny taste in the water, so then we have to move over to Celeste. So
and in the winter, Celeste gets really turbid. And the algae bloom is not going on because it's winter up on Mill Creek, and that's why we switch over to Mill Creek in the winter.
Correct.
Any chance this will somehow help us get our dam raised?
It will identify those things within the forest plans and what those could do and what that's all gets identified.
We'll talk.
Does this have any impact on what goes on in the surrounding areas? I mean, i.e. right now, there's a problem with some spraying and such on there.
Oh.
We could address those issues.
So that'll, under that Silet's area with the critical action or critical area protection analysis, that'll start addressing those chemical issues, especially around on our ground, that in along the ground, along the Silet's that feed into our system, and how that could affect. And again, working at identifying areas the city may want to negotiate easements for that critical area protection for, good practices, safe practices, not only just for erosion control, chemical control, all of those things.
I'm wondering if this would give us an extra tool to say, hey, no more Roundup right there.
This will give us an extra tool on where it's happening and developing the plan on how to solve that.
Okay.
Yeah, it won't solve it, but it's gonna tell you there's a problem here and that you guys need to work on that.
Any other questions, council? Right. I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion authorizing Mayor Cross to sign a letter of interest on behalf of the city.
It's been moved by Jackie Kaufman and Frank to authorize Mayor Cross to sign a letter of interest on behalf of the city for an upcoming grant opportunity. I will take a roll call vote. Councilor Strong?
Yes.
Councilor Burns?
Yes.
Council President Bush?
Yeah.
Councilor Sylvia?
Yes.
Councilor Kaufman?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Motion carries 6-0.
And Mayor, if you can please sign that right after the meeting,
I
because
will.
it is due tomorrow.
I know. Yes, I know.
Oh, three.
All right, reports and comments. Lisa?
I have nothing tonight, Mayor. Oh, actually,
You never cease.
just a reminder, next week is the pop-up. And it will be at the library meeting room down below. I can't remember why we were doing it, but down below. Oh, just to account for no overtime for staff. But we'll have the cornhole boards from Chief Pace. We'll borrow those and some other things. Counselor Bush showed me some reverse coloring pages, and so they're already colored, and all you do is you make outlines to draw something that you see out of those.
Pictures of clouds.
Yeah,
You're assuming
and
a
someone
lot.
else. And we'll have some light refreshments as well.
We also will have a proclamation at that time for.
Yes,
What time?
And that is what, when?
Our normal time, right?
yes.
That's the
6
city
p.m.
council meeting next weekend.
Instead of a workshop, we're doing a pop-up.
The mayor and I will not be there. So
Yes.
pop
That
there.
will be in Planet Falls.
Who will be doing the proclamation?
Oh,
Well, I have an Oregon Mayor Association, so I have an LOC board meeting at noon in K Falls.
We'll have
And I
to-
have a OMA meeting at 7 p.m. that night in K Falls. Yeah, so.
That night, we do have a proclamation that needs to be given, so I'm gonna need you to dedicate somebody to make that proclamation. It's for the Arbor Day Foundation. But it needs to be done that night.
Yeah, Jackson.
I think the city forester should do it.
You think it's some telling argument, Counselor Paul.
Oh.
Yeah, the city forester on behalf of the mayor does have a good ring to it.
I'll write that down.
Thank you.
At the same time, but it's at the library.
Yeah.
There are some benefits.
Harrison, I'll let the library go next.
right.
Come on up, you don't get a specter. Wow, you got that saunter down well.
I was gonna.
No, that's a saunter. Swagger's a little bit shorter
Swaggy,
steps.
but no.
Yeah. Sauntering's when you get out there and into it.
Move from the general to the specific. Native Innovation is at the library now. It's looking great. It's from the U of O's Museum of Natural and Cultural History. It's all about native technologies, Oregon. Lots of very cool information, lots of activities. It's very hands-on. Come put your hands on stuff. The exhibits, not the staff. It's great. Mia from U of O Museum came down, spent the whole day walking us through it, setting it up. It's really terrific. We met today with Lincoln County Master Gardener Laura Strom to brainstorm ways to expand, market, and develop our seed library program, which has been getting use just about every day. And we're looking at, we're exploring grant opportunities and ways that we can bolster that, streamline it, and use the lessons learned by other like organizations that have had seed libraries, including Greenport. We're onboarding some volunteers, making and strengthening connections with other institutions. And we're planning for a lot of events and programs, so stay tuned there. We've been running lean during this transition, but we're on pace to accelerate out of this curve. Summer's almost here. So we've got a few events coming up I wanted to touch on. Of course, these are all on our calendar on our website. Tomorrow, Thursday, 4/18, Teens and Tweens Arts and Eats Color and Connect at 1 p.m. Art, snacks, good times.
Are they off?
Yeah, it's
Parent teacher. Oh, okay.
Thursday,
I
Friday.
don't have a kid in school anymore, so I don't have
Wednesday,
their
Thursday.
calendar in my head like I used to.
Oh, is that what it is?
I was thinking to myself, I could be in school.
sneak yourself on in, shave the beard and pass.
Yeah, I could shave a lot and it wouldn't matter, okay?
So that's gonna be fun. Everyone gets a little square to color, and then at the end of the event, the result will be a bit of a surprise. There's still space, so you can call to register if you've got kids who'd like to participate. And there will be boba tea. Everybody likes boba tea, except people who don't. But if you do, have boba tea. And if you don't, It's not mandatory. Friday, 4/19, this Friday, Legos in the library, 2 p.m. Kelly Bartlett, from the Lego Masters competition. We'll be doing a presentation at 2 p.m., a meet and greet at 3 p.m. and at 4 p.m. we'll have a building session with the library's Legos. And Saturday, April 27th, of course, our Community Arbor Day celebration. You can come down and enter the poetry contest in advance of that and maybe win a puzzle. We've got one for the kids, one for the adults. Nice Ravensburger puzzle.
Wow.
Take the Smoky Bear Reading Challenge. You can do that all their day of. And take the Smoky Bear Pledge so you don't burn up all your books before you can do your reading challenge, you know. Only you, everybody, can prevent forest fires and brook fire. Saturday, May 11th, we've got another Teens and Tweens Arts and Eats event. This one is making tin can planters again at 1 p.m. that day, which is the perfect complement to the seeds you'll all be getting from our seed library. And that's all I've got in the front of my mind and in my notes at the moment.
Any questions for Harry? You guys are doing great.
Likewise.
I tell you what, I love getting those things to pass on to people because I love the library is so involved and it's so active, right? It's not just a place anymore. It's a happening. Yeah.
I would like to just add, if you haven't been up there to see the native collection, that is, it's neat. Please, I got up there and spent about 35-40 minutes just messing around there. I had more fun, I think, so.
Harrison, do you have a flyer for the emergency preparedness fair tomorrow?
I may have one at work.
I'm just wondering if you could like kind of tell people tomorrow when they're there for the art thing.
Yeah.
That's going on tomorrow afternoon at the high school.
Yes, let me put that in
Just
my.
trying to get the word out to people, and I need to come by and get a book tomorrow, so I can drop one off if you guys don't have them.
Perfect. We may have one up, but just in case.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Anybody that can get the word out.
Okay.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you.
He didn't even hear you. You would have made his day. You've been told you're cute, Harrison.
Oh.
See?
I calm down on a regular basis. And on that note, Public Works Director Laura Moore, would you please give your report?
You're cute too.
Thank you.
Oh.
That's been an enhancement in my book.
Tough act to follow.
Yeah, you're not old enough yet to be handsome, maybe.
Just an update, the water line extension on Business 20 is completed. Water is hooked up. Folks at Thirsty Fisherman and actually Henry Logging, Henry Trucking, as soon as they get tied in, they'll have water.
Awesome.
There were some glitches, but our guys pushed through.
Where do we live? There was a reason this place is called the Toledo zone, okay?
They ran into a couple disagreements, we'll say, one of them being an old concrete part of an old scale from when the trucks would come in and weigh themselves. It might have taken about 6 weeks to get through, but they did it. So that's done, that's completed. In addition to the 3 fire hydrants too, which is, improved safety in the event of a fire. That's great. The Arcadia bathrooms ADA accessible approach is being worked on currently. Tentatively, it'll be finished on Friday. It'll be an asphalt area. We have Alan Lot Maintenance who we reached out to do that job because we were tied up doing something else. Yeah, we're looking forward to that. That's gonna be good. Working on some I&I jobs to around town to get rid of some of the infiltration. So our wastewater treatment plant doesn't have to work as hard, not as much process. We're gonna continue on with storm cleanup because it's continual. bunch of mowing and debris removal also. And tomorrow, myself, Mr. Ron Bush, and Braden Johnson from Public Works will be assisting. And we're gonna be at the Emergency Preparedness Fair at Toledo High School from 4 to 8. I'm gonna make our presence felt for the community, representing our city, outlining basic disaster supplies, recommendations, and it was nice of Lisa. She gave me this ready.gov cheat sheet here. Talked about the basic needs for preparedness for emergency, like having water, food, battery operated hand crank radio, the NOAA radio tone alert, flashlights, first aid kit, batteries, whistles, dust masks, just in case air gets contaminated, moist towelettes, garbage bags and plastic ties, wrenches or pliers, manual can opener, local maps, cell phones with chargers, and additional emergency supplies like hand sanitizers, prescription medications, non-prescription medications, infant formulas if there's small children involved, pet foods, cash or traveler's check, because credit cards aren't being good in state of emergency. So.
Deck of cards.
What's that?
Add a deck of cards.
Yeah.
None of those lists have anything for entertainment.
Well, that's what the cash is for, isn't it?
Learn how to use.
Deck of cards.
That's basically what we got going on in Public Works. Trying to put together some more, like I said, some projects, reduce the I&I around town. We're having an outfit come in and do some camera work just to verify some spots that are good potentials for some lining and, like I said, to reduce the I&I and how hard the wastewater treatment plant has to work.
How are we coming on our manholes?
That's on there with the I&I also.
Because I remember that's been a big issue in the past and we've been working hard the last couple of years and I just wanna.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can just keep that as a yearly thing. We get another, 25, 30 manholes done.
Keep it fun. Our Public Works super Jeff, he's working on a spreadsheet covering the manholes and the liners that we've had in place, and then also the problematic areas that we're gonna continue on.
Yep, good. Well, Jeff, thank you.
I
So
will.
as far as you were talking about the restrooms, I know that the Memorial Field one is.
The bonfire bathroom, yeah.
Yeah, well, they got a problem. So if that's gonna take a little longer before we get resolved on that?
I can't speak on that. I think we're still waiting on CIS.
Yeah, okay. I know there's events coming up for this coming summer and that would,
Porta potties. I was gonna say typically
Yeah.
porta potties anyway.
We have 3 or 4 porta potties and 1 ADA already in place. Now, as for the rebuild, I'm not sure when that's gonna take place.
Yeah, I mean, as far as replacing them, yeah, it's gonna be a little longer term. But as far as making them look, I mean, they're burnt right now, but when we get crowds of people down there, it'd be nice not to have them look so bad if we could.
Just waiting on the go ahead.
We can get them torn down, but we gotta wait until we get the
Yeah.
clearance from the entrance.
I talked to CIS yesterday or the day before, and maybe it was last Thursday, man, days are running together. She indicated that this week an independent insurance guy was gonna be out and look at them.
Okay.
She's the one that's making the restitution claim in court. So,
Right.
and I think eventually we'll get paid it's kind of an odd situation. We had it insured for 52 roughly, the estimated value. Although it's a 19, I think she said 69 building. And so you take away the depreciation and that's the amount that they will make the restitution claim for in the court hearing. So they will really, and then we had a rider that's the full replacement value. So we know what a bathroom costs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're coming out really well. CIS maybe not so much.
Well,
So to answer your question, as soon as it's possible, or
we're just gonna
full board try to get it put back together.
tear them down and, yeah, cause like I say, there's multitude of summer events coming up here, you know, it'd be nice to see that it's going.
Yeah, I know. Hooray for arsonists.
No.
As,
That was definitely said with a
There are-
facetious tone.
There are a couple other places that are having little buildings put up in the woods and maybe you should be taken apart too.
There's a good chance on that too. We'll have asbestos that we're gonna have to remediate.
in the bathrooms?
In 1969 bathroom.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it?
Tile, roof.
So back in the day.
Oh, I
It could be
know.
very costly.
Yeah.
It could be very costly, yeah. It is.
Mine
They're
that
down the
was
road.
70 something.
In a way, I kind of wish our fire department drove slower.
Should have let it burn sometime. Yeah, the gate's locked. They can't get in.
It was about 4:15 in the morning. It wasn't even smoldering much anymore, so they acted too fast apparently.
Oh, no, I said.
Any other questions for Brian? All right.
Should there be
Thank you,
anybody around it at 4:30 in the morning now?
What's that?
Should there be anybody out there? at
No, it was
4:30
more
in
like
the morning?
3:15, 3:10 in the morning when it took place.
No, I mean, the other night, I drove by and saw somebody with a flashlight out there at 4:30 in the morning.
Checking for hotspots.
Should I call somebody when I see that?
I was driving around it. I didn't see anybody in that area. But
Well, anything suspicious along those lines? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I've thought about it after, I'm on my way to work on the highway, I'm not dialing the phone. And then I forgot by the time I got there.
So they were out in the field.
They were in the building inside the yellow tape line.
Oh.
Oh, that's really strange.
Oh, yeah, they're not supposed to be there.
yeah, give me a call.
And it was,
Yeah, give Mike a call.
yeah,
I just give the PD call.
I just thought of it when you were talking.
No, by all means, you see something suspicious at any time, report it, please.
Next time I'll pull over and let you know, instead of going, I'll call when I get to work.
Anything,
something, say something, right?
Yeah.
your excuse, sir. Chief Robinson.
That way, yeah. Isn't it funny how the fire department's excited about the previous, his fire hydrants, it's gonna be really nice. So we're excited about that because one, it moves out hydrants out there further. It helps ISO further out in the area. It helps for tender shuttles and everything else. So that's really exciting. The other thing we're excited for is the ADA bathrooms. Strange enough, I guess, right? But the hose monster we just recently purchased, we'll do hydrant testing. And yeah, it's just the name of the company, Hose Monster.
Yeah.
They develop hose testing or hydrant fire flows in general, whether it be generating systems like pumps or whatever. So we bought a device that does flow tests on hydrants. And kind of the old way of doing it is you would open up a hydrant here and you're checking for pressure and flows. Then you go down the line a couple hydrants and you open another one and you open it wide open until you get down to a 20 PSI minimum. And you use those numbers to get your average. Quite a few thousand gallons are gone at that point and a lot of plants usually too. So the hose monster diverts it left and right, or we can put it at the end of the hose and put it out on the road. But it eliminates that second hydrant with the math that they put into the size of the orifice. So all we have to do is open the hydrant and let it flow. So on average, a highball is gonna be about 2,000 GPM or 2,000 gallons to flow test a hydrant. So it's kind of nice. You're gonna at least double that the old way. So the tool's really, really freaking sweet. We've been playing with it. We tested a couple of items already around. I wouldn't certify those numbers. We're kind of playing with it. With purchase of the tool, you also get to use their website calculator. And that's how you do the final thing is with their little calculator brings you down to your GPM out of that hydrant. So it's one of those things we're supposed to be doing as a city is testing our municipal water supplies every time a new structure goes in. So if you're putting a house and it's a normal, 1,000, 2,000 square foot, we can go in and do the flow tests. If it's a larger McMansion, we might have to bring in a contractor. But if it's gonna be a sprinklered system, then it has to be a contractor to get the math down to just the finite system on it. So it's one of those things that we've adopted state fire code. And in the code, we're supposed to test a hydrant next to the house you're putting in, closest hydrant to it.
So it's something we usually only do periodically, like when ISO does inspections, but now we're gonna start doing it kind of like what we said we would do. We just didn't know what we bought into when we adopted fire code, I guess. But it is a good system. It's good in a couple ways. It's what it does is it tells you and your insurance company that this hydrant is gonna do what we're telling you to. And now we can also say that as a public works, we're providing the services we say we're gonna provide. So it's kind of neat that we can quantitatively look at these numbers and go, no, we're actually doing something, right? These numbers. The house that brought all this on is in an area of town that used to have fire flows that would never pass. They would have been very, very low. They would probably, they were fire flows. We had fires in the area and we did it, but not numbers that they're actually looking for. Well, that area has been looped over the last few years, which means it's not a dead end system and now it's a loop system. So the numbers will be much better. That's not one we've tested yet. We literally just got it yesterday. So we haven't got up there to test that yet. We're doing some planning. We definitely want to get out and look at his new system out there by DQ. Really excited about that.
Good.
Yeah, it is. It is good. It is good. The other thing, it's getting up to be a little bit ever so slowly warmer and drier, ever so slowly. So we're running into some wildland training and we're going to be doing some burning behind the fire station down over that bank. Years ago, we used to do it and we got it very, very cleared out. Now it's kind of growing back, which is good because now we have more to burn. That's a great thing about Ivy. It continues to give you something to burn. So if you see some smoke coming from back there, it's most likely what we're doing. It'll be done on a weekend and get in and.
So if I see it on a Wednesday night, I should call you.
Somebody, yeah, see something, say something.
Okay.
Dispatch week. Yeah, so it'll be on a weekend. We'll light it off and burn it. It meets our training requirements for wildland of what they refer to as RT 130. It's equals up to about 130 hours of training you could do. A lot of it's online stuff. And it's really good videos. They break them down very well off of the ODF and then Northwest Coordinating Center training sites. And so you do that and some hands-on. So we're starting to do that now and get ready for the season.
As far as people burning, they can burn right now, but they still have to come up and get a permit or let you know, or.
The permitting can be done off the website, City of Toledo's website. That's what we're kind of encouraging. You can come up and get one from us, and then people do. They come up because they just don't know about it yet. Or they can go down to dispatch and get one from them, either way. If you do it off the website, it's a paperless system. The dispatch is able to look backwards and see if there's something in an area that if we get a burn complaint. That'll be closing, burn season will be closing. We always close it by July 1st. By July 1st, we're done regardless of the weather. But it usually around May 1st, we look at a soft closure, depending on the weather. And we'll say that end of May or beginning of May is going to be our shut off, but then we base it almost on a week by week.
Right.
And because this time of year right now, what is very, very common is they have a lot of winter kill debris underneath the fresh green stuff on top. And look at that, it's green as can be. That'll never burn. Well, sticker bushes, now you've got 3 feet of very dry and very dead material underneath it. And it's very typical to get a fire this time of year. Sweet Home had a good one not long ago. It was like 10 acres. Yeah, like 10 acres. Yeah, exactly. What the heck? But you get that winter kill and it's very misleading of what you're looking at because you don't see it. It's green on top, but it gets underneath it and it'll just run. So it's very typical right now. So we start watching it at the end of or beginning of May. We'll start looking at it on a week by week and updating people. And the other side of that coin is that if we close it early, not everybody gets that message. So we still have time to go make those contacts and go, okay, we close burn season, finish your pile, stay with it, but it's closed after that, kind of a soft closure on it makes it a little bit better. By the end of June and July 1st, we'll shut it off as a county. The whole county do it by then. We will try to work as a fire defense board as a unified front on a lot of this.
So the burning that's going on Highway 20 will probably go away.
So he's been he's burning. I mean, it smells like wood smoke and it's not super blue. So he's burning the correct materials. It's almost more of a slash than what he's burning now. There's so much of it, but wetting property.
We need to talk.
Yeah, I got information on that today.
Oh. So yeah, this is the page here. So if you roll down, burn permit information there, you can get on and go through. Click here, scroll down, and then you've got some stuff to read. And it's very simple. There's nothing tricky about it. We follow the DEQ recommendations. It isn't allowed to burn. Basically, it's clean wood, not treated, not anything that has any chemicals. So that takes away press board, plywood in general. So it's unpainted, clean, dry wood and brush and debris. Keep the size down to about a 3x3. If you start getting larger than that, now you're facing slash size and kind of requires a little bit more equipment around it. But the biggest problem we have, and it's not we, it's everybody, is people lighting the fires and leaving them. And they go away. And we'll more than happy to come out and cover it with about a foot of foam and then tell you good luck. Yeah. We were training in Siletz Monday with Siletz Fire. We're doing training. And on the way out to where we were going out Logston Road, there's this enormous fire, this huge fire blowing. Nobody home, nobody around. So we diverted training from over here and they put about 3,000 gallons on it, from one of our engines and a Siletz tender. And nobody was home, 3 feet from a house. It had warped the siding of the house and yeah, there was nobody home. Yes.
Also with the burning, I think, are you supposed to stop an hour or two before sundown?
Yeah.
A lot of people don't.
A lot of people don't, and it's a difficult one to get across because, hey, it's the way we've always done it. It's a difficult one to get across. When the fires are burning at night, what we get is an inversion layer that comes down. That's that cold air that comes down and banks it. And then instead of a good rise and a lift from the smoke banks down and it just smokes everybody out. A Street in about 2 hours, you're gonna see a beautiful example of it. The smoke come up and it plateaus. It just will not leave the area.
I know.
So, yeah, exactly. Everybody gets it. And it's just a weather event. And the nighttime, when that cold air dumps, that's what causes it. You don't get good, clean burning.
Yeah.
You don't get complete burning. It just sits there and skunks around and stinks.
Yeah.
And that's the reason for that. Now, if you're doing a campfire and you're sitting around making s'mores, knock yourself out. That's great. But once again, you're burning clean, dry wood in a small, 3x3 area contained.
Burn will light if I have hot dogs out there.
Yeah.
And you stay with us.
I saw a guy give that speech, I'm cooking on it, and it was a burn barrel. And he actually put a hot dog on a stick and put it, and it was papers. And he's like, oh, don't eat it, buddy. It's gonna be a Camp Lejeune commercial doing some burning plastic like that, hot dogs on it. So.
Any other questions for Chief Robeson?
Nothing? All right.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you.
Chief Face.
So we've got the Toledo Summer Festival banquet on Saturday at 5 p.m. I think that's at the Elks. They're gonna have a lot of silent auctions and
A live auction.
yeah. And they're gonna do some kind of combination thing as well. So that should be pretty fun. I was able to fill the detective assignment. The detective Dalen Shinholster will be sworn in on May 1st with a new badge.
Good choice.
Yeah, I believe so too. We have a graduation this Friday at the academy. Unfortunately, the next person that is going to the academy has prolonged illness, and we'll have to postpone him going to the academy. We recently had a CIS audit, and we passed it rather well. We'll know the results of that in 3 or 4 weeks. The auditor said that CIS will be raising the rates for everybody. Like if we had a bad audit, we'd be raised considerably. So, but he said there's nothing for us to worry about. And then I just kind of want to give a shout out to Public Works and the fire department for their assistance with the power line that went down on Sturtevant Road. Initially we thought it was a power line. Semi truck went through it probably at 11 o'clock, and then 2 hours later it went through it again, and it caught on its trailer. So we think that the lines had sagged a bit and considerably and got caught on the box trailer and ripped it all out. We initially thought like power lines, power company came out because it was comm lines. And so Jeff from Power Works, he devised a winch to pull it up onto the HD trees so you get traffic going again. It's pretty hairy because it's right at the time the school was about to get out and buses were lining up and we had semis stacked up on Sturtevant. So everybody's freaking out. But shout out to Public Works and the fire department for being right there and assisting. So
Good job, guys.
Bravo.
Yay.
That's all I got. Any questions for Mike?
I'll just say that I was kicked out of dispatch.
You weren't kicked out. I was given a headset. He just kind of.
Every time I've come in there, it's been a magnet. Exactly. That's the way to.
So graduation's next Friday, right? Not this Friday?
Friday.
No, it's the 26th.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right, because I'm working that day, so.
I saw the panic, yeah.
Don't do that to me.
Although I'm working, so pictures going in my stacks,
All right.
which doesn't happen very often, so I think he's pretty happy to get one.
All right. Any questions for Mike? All right, Amanda?
Few things for you this evening. First, pleased to report that our fraud prevention tools on our banking are all live, effective this week. The ACH was easy to implement. That happened immediately. For the checking positive pay on all of our bank accounts, that took some time going back and forth between our software to generate a file in the correct format that outputs whenever we print checks, and then testing with the bank. So that has officially completed and is live and in place. We also have begun all of our preliminary work with our project manager on our Springbrook system upgrade, so I'm pleased that that is moving along. I did learn one thing I wanted to share with council. I've been digging into quite a bit of our revenues and expenses as I'm working on the budget, and discovered we had not received payments from Lincoln County for building permits since January of 2023. After several calls and being passed through numerous departments, I finally reached someone who was able to clarify. The county has suspended sending payments to any of the cities for building permits. We will no longer be receiving that going forward. It is a small amount of revenue, less than $1,000 a year. They had been processing all the building permits there and doing the inspections, the county, and then the cities were receiving 10% of those building permit fees as revenue.
And I think they shared with her that the contract had expired in 16 or 17. I went and read the contract. No, it's forever until you give notice to terminate. So.
Are they in breach of contract?
Yeah, but we should probably call their county attorney or
We might have to work on.
planning department before we sue them.
I think I know a county commissioner I need to talk to, so I might do that.
Yeah, I think I think the contract hasn't been terminated. It's still in place.
Yeah, what they told me was our contract expired back in 2016 and we currently do not have an IGA in place. But yeah, Mike looked into that and discovered that, yes, we do. And Arlene, when I spoke with her, she said, I didn't think that sunsetted. So yeah.
Yeah, I understand it's not a lot of money, but the principle, I don't think we should let the county run with scissors. They just shouldn't be able to do whatever they want.
And yes, I know this is being recorded, but I'm pretty sure the county could hurt themselves with childlike scissors.
That is
That's as bad as
issue that we.
Good catch.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Yeah. You're doing good work.
Trying.
You're doing great.
Right?
Oh, I have a couple more.
You have more.
I have more.
All right.
I've been busy. I am pleased to report I completed interviews for our accounting clerk position. We did receive 6 applications, which I was very pleased with. 4 candidates were interviewed and we have extended an offer. I'm very pleased with this person. I just sent it out today, so we haven't heard back yet.
To find housing, or are they here?
No, they have lived in Toledo for 6 years.
Oh,
Their husband works at GP. Awesome. They're not going anywhere. And
Now watch, GP transfer.
Don't knock on wood.
Okay, there you go.
Jesus. And one more item, the accounting supervisor and myself were subpoenaed to testify on behalf of the city of Toledo last week. for the criminal charges against our former employee for theft. That person was indicted for 3 felony counts, 2 counts of felony theft 1 and 1 felony count of aggravated theft. So it continues. We did call in, I know Mike appeared in person, to the status hearing this week. She was arraigned on the additional charges and pled not guilty, and the next trial date is set for May 20th. That's all I have.
Questions? Yes, Frank.
Did you get that thing fixed between Poland with that payment with the water bills?
Yes, yes, that took a Monday and half of my Tuesday.
Their payment system had went down, so nobody paid the water bills. And apparently the people in Poland shut it off when they weren't supposed to.
This is exactly why we're moving away. This is
Did
our,
you just say Poland?
yes.
Did.
So the current credit card merchant, we have 2 vendors, third parties outside of our financial software that host our online credit card payments on our website. One processes the payments, the other owns the account. Apparently Springbrook moved away from them years ago and has gone to Express Bill Pay, who we're working to implement now. Because of these problems, they've continued to outsource, and it's been a nightmare. And yeah, we had a conundrum this weekend. I was actually in the office working over the weekend and got a secure message that our account was closed. And had to get a hold of somebody, scramble, get set in circles, and they were very helpful. Our software support actually was able to escalate it through an upper level person and get it resolved for us.
Yep.
It's always something.
I can't wait for this.
And on that note, okay, Counselor, what do you got for us?
Try to be quick. That was humor. Since we last met, I did a permit under that TMC code for John Robinson that we can use for others in the
I saw the signs up.
Reviewed, it spent about a day and a half going through our city charter and the LOC template and another template from the some national organization for city charters, as well as pulling examples and language from cities around the state, just so that I kind of know what we're talking about and what I think should be in the charter as the committee meets and moves forward. Today I talked to an attorney for the Yaquina Pacific Railroad Historical Society. Yaquina LLC, that's a private, it's the Boyer family, leases the ground to us and we sublease it to the railroad. The railroad's attorney today, he's gonna keep us informed, but apparently the main individual has passed away and the family member wants to raise the rent to like $600 a year. But I think we're really involved in this because they don't pay property taxes if we're leasing it. But so you'll see that in the future. Yesterday I gave some feedback to our fire chief on the wildland fire grant and did a resolution that you guys will have to approve, that you'll see at some point. And worked on library policies, which is something that I did again today. The public contracting is still out there, and that's just kind of shuffling projects as they come in. I don't know if you have any questions.
Any questions? Doug?
So. A couple notes here. We had 3 applications for the library director position. I do have interviews lined up for Monday. one of those applications withdrew. So I have two that I'll be interviewing on Monday for that position. And be going from there. Tomorrow, we have the pool meeting at 5 p.m. It will be here. And right after that at 6 p.m. we have our, just a reminder, our budget training. It should, I hope, knock on wood, it'll be about an hour. It shouldn't be long to go through the budget training.
I will be at the Georgia Pacific Open House from 5 o'clock on. I'll send you, I'll send you all my notes on the architecture.
Yes. And that's what basically they want to discuss is the architecture thoughts coming from our side. The emergency preparedness fair is tomorrow, 4 to 8 p.m. You heard from Brian, who's going to be there representing the city, and glad they could step up and do that. Arcadia, as he said, is going to finish up, we hope, this week. I hope next week, maybe we could look at a ribbon cutting and open that bathroom. So, well, more to come on that when I converse with Brian and where we're at and when we're actually ready to flip the switch and open. But I'd like to do a ribbon cutting in that and make a big deal of it. I think that's a good thing.
Yours.
You heard about the insurance on the building down there. We're just waiting to get the all clear, and then I'll probably have to do some asbestos testing, and then hopefully we can get it torn down. If it's not there, then our guys can tear it down. If it's there, we're gonna have to have a contractor probably come in and tear it down and take care of it. The port has been reaching out there. We got some meetings scheduled coming up with them at the end of the month, first and next. Hooking up the sewer. So.
Here's all in here.
So, yeah, it's starting, they've reached out to, I know some of this has already been, went back and looked at some of the emails and stuff, but, in 2021, they kind of negotiated a lot of this already. So I think it's just kind of getting things finalized. They're going to put in a manhole and, they're actually agreed to line some pipe to that manhole, so that in part of this deal. So we're just gonna make sure we get everything lined out and probably get some contracts where we'll be. I think all the stuff that was agreed to was kind of just over email and handshakes right now, so we gotta get it all formalized. In your packets, you guys should, there in the last part of your packet should have had something about the OMA and their award for nominating mayors for their leadership within the state or your community. Rod will probably talk to that more about that as we get moving forward here when he comes up. And then the other thing that's come up on my board is the Greater Toledo Recreation Center or whole district. They're wanting to renegotiate their lease and negotiate their water supplement payments. And they will be coming before you guys. We're trying to get that set up for May 1st. So their board and our board can meet. I will make sure you have plenty of information and negotiate properly on that. There's a lot of things, moving parts on that I think we all need to take into
If
consideration.
memory serves, it was a 90-year lease.
Your memory serves correct, but I
Yes.
don't know that they can read their lease correctly. So it's a 10-year terms that they within 6 months at the end of the 10-year term, they just have to write a letter that says we want to continue leasing. And it's $1 a year, which they haven't paid since the first year. So
Wow.
I think they thought they just paid $10 and they were good, but I think from what I'm hearing, we haven't gone back and re-looked at it much, but from from what I'm hearing, they just paid their dollar. And, but it's supposed to be $1 a year for 10 years or $10 each renewal. So they'll want to talk about that. And then on the water supplement, that expired in February of this year. And we were supplementing the water due to leaks and helping them get used to their tax and what they had to spend. And
It was their cushion
and it was supposed to go down as time went, and the whole idea of it was to offset water at the time. So I did some calculations and ran the numbers, and we've more than paid the water that they've used. So probably we gave them probably about 2 times more than what the water is that they've been billed for. So I think they've been more than flush. And with the moving parts of it, they're gonna be closing down soon when we begin demolition, which we anticipate hopefully in January. I don't know that, my feeling is that we need to revisit that after the thing's rebuilt. Or if we're gonna do any supplement stuff, but that's for you guys to decide with them, and that'll be coming forward for that discussion on May 1st. Other than that, that's what I have. Thank you.
Any comments or questions for Doug? All right, council comments. I'll start with Councilor Kaufman.
Nothing.
Sue?
I've been busy, but nothing really to bring up tonight.
Okay. Frank?
Same, I went to the CWAC meeting, couldn't do nothing, didn't have enough for them. Benton County didn't show up again. Other than that, I don't really have nothing. Yeah.
Jackie? Nothing? Okay. Council President Bush.
I have a question, and I don't know that anybody can answer it. I don't know if it's Toledo or Newport or what. I was on Bay Road driving to Newport, and somebody had a sign out front in their yard that said yes on the library district. What is that pertaining to?
Oh, the library district, and Harrison could probably fill in better, but they are voting, they have a 5-year levy for the whole district that's outside city limits. It doesn't include the people in city limits. It's
Okay.
for the county people only.
Okay.
And it's their funding that funds them, for like the interlibrary loan system and all that stuff.
For support of our library.
And supports, they do give money to our library and the other libraries, in the county as well.
Thank you. I just was curious.
I saw that same.
Yeah.
It's to renew their levy. It comes up every 5 years.
Okay. Good to know.
It's cheap. Isn't it like 21 cents or something like that?
Some raisins.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I want to say it's around 21 cents.
In the county.
per thousand.
Per thousand of assessed value, and it's in the county only, it doesn't include anybody within city limits of any town.
Cool, thank you. I think that's it. Just go to the emergency preparedness fair if you're not doing the budget.
Okay, I have a few things. One, we have been approached by Oregon Coast Breaking News to possibly do a series of community videos. And they are suggesting either myself or Doug be the host, where we bring in guests from different departments, keep people updated on what's going on, that we could put up on the website. They would produce this, be about a 15-minute or less at a cost of $150 per episode. Could also take and do a podcast that could go up to a half an hour for $250 that we could put on YouTube if we didn't want to host all the video on our own stuff. So put that in your thinking caps. See if you would like to do something like that. So that, I hate to tell you this all, and don't let this color your decisions, but if we do, I am going to interview all of you so that the community gets to know you. Okay. So just be prepared for that if we go down.
Harrison, you guys already have a podcast with the library, right?
Yes, the library has a.
What kind of viewer listenership are you getting on that? I'm just curious.
It varies month to month. It's local. Most of our listenership, we imagine. So we hover around 100, but we get bumps. So I've got some guests lined up, and usually when we have guests, we do get a little bit of an increase that sometimes sticks around.
I think 100's great for our size of
Exactly.
community. That's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, usually when we have people as guests, they'll tell people in their circle, and we get a little bit of a nudge each
Nice.
time. So, yeah.
Yeah. So on Monday, Doug and I went to House Bill 4123 Summit. That's the Homeless Task Force Summit. And got to meet with all other 8 of us of the other House Bill 4123 communities that were chosen. And the thing that jumped out at me in the entire thing is how many more homeless students we have than anybody else does in this, in these pilot projects. Polk County, okay, and for those of you who don't know where Polk County is, that's Monmouth, Independence, Dallas. It's not West Salem. West Salem is part of Salem. Fall City, all of that, okay? They have the same amount of population as our county does. 213 kids. We're over 600.
That's from the school district?
Yes, that's the McKinney-Vento numbers.
Yeah.
Okay,
We're 600.
we're over
In the
six, we
entire
are over
county?
600.
If you look
The
at,
entire district.
I thought the more amazing was Deschutes County had the
Yeah.
same number we had.
Yeah,
And Deschutes is huge.
yes, Deschutes County is Bend.
Yeah.
Okay, Bend, Redmond, Sisters, Prineville's in Crook County. Lapine, we're talking about probably 200,000 people, and they were at the same number we were.
I'm curious, has anybody compared those numbers against their numbers of residents that are living below the extreme poverty line?
No
Wondering
one
how
had done that yet, but
wondering
that's
how
what
that-
we're dealing with,
Yeah.
okay? Is the fact that we've become very stratified in the county between those who do the work for everybody who lives here and those who live here. And it's becoming more and more of an issue. Because while you don't see those kids out on the sidewalk, to be blunt, those are the kids that have stayed in my house. Those are the kids that are doubled up with other families. Those are the kids that have been kicked out and they're
What
staying with
ages
friends.
are we talking? There.
All ages.
K through
Well, that's
12.
students. So you're talking
Yes.
from kindergarten all the way through seniors in high school.
All levels, okay.
And the other part that, and it's heartbreaking because you look at, we are so unique and our numbers proved it when we're out there and we're listening to them. So we have those students right on one end. And then we have almost 50% of our homeless that we've been able to track are 50 and over. We had one gal that was 93 years old that stayed in the shelter this last winter. Okay. We are not Portland. We have different issues than Portland. We have to get this message out because I'm tired of fighting Portland to get people to understand that we don't have the same issues and we have to attack this a different way. And I felt sorry for Doug. It was his trial by fire, as it were. He had to sit there and listen to all these people talk all day long.
I enjoyed it. I learned a lot.
Well, I know you did, but it's like getting thrown in the deep end. I've been involved in this now for about 3.5 years with the mayor's task force and being the co-chair of our Lincoln County Housing Board. I'm hoping that at some point we can get the powers that be, and that means the powers that be, not just in Salem, but in Washington, to wake up and understand that not everything is Los Angeles or Portland or Seattle. That homelessness is an issue everywhere, but it's not the same everywhere. There are different drivers. There are different issues involved. Mental health is still huge. that's the other part that why every time you guys talk about the county, I'm like, yep, and they're the ones that are supposed to be doing certain things they are mandated to do, and just gotta keep working on it.
Even within the eight counties that were represented, there's a huge difference as well. I mean, there are some similarities, which was nice to see what those were. But everybody had a little bit different approach to tweak to their area that made sense.
Yep. And so next week, as Councilor Bush pointed out, I'm gonna be gone from Wednesday morning through Sunday, with the exception of a by the law drive back from Klamath Falls to Salem and then back to Klamath Falls. I'll be there for the League of Oregon City Spring Conference. And so hopefully I'll be able to bring back more information for you all about things. Kim's gonna be there. She's gonna attend a lot of the things. So between the two of us, we should be able to come back with some more good information for. So let's see, you were talking about the OMA Mayor's Leadership Award. As a past recipient, of which I'm gonna look at Lisa when I say this, you guys were able to keep secrets. I could hire you for the US Army. Good job. The only thing I had an inkling about was when my wife told me I had to bring a suit. Which I thought, okay, it's the first one I've been to, you know, I guess I'll wear a suit. I had to wear a suit, so. What it is, it's an award given for service that, for lack of a better word, goes beyond what you would normally think a mayor does. And if you look through, it's service to your community, it's service to your region, service to your state. And you know, if you know mayors in other towns, please let their townspeople know that they can put them up, because it is, I'll be blunt, got me right in the feels. Still does when I think about it, because I did not expect that at all. And as you'll find with most of us mayors, we don't do it for that stuff. We do it because we love our town and we love the people in our towns. And awards or not, we're gonna keep going because they're worth it. And that's there. I told you about as much as I can without hearing on it. So with that, good meeting tonight. I think we heard some good information. I'll be honest with everyone. If the OCC bond passes, we need to stay on them about our site out here. We need to keep it at the forefront of their mind. We need to make sure that they understand that we matter, number one. Number two, it's a feather in their cap to have a place where people can do real live work, real live training. That's why my son's apprenticeship is 5 years long.
Yeah.
Because he's got to cover everything in his grandmother as an apprentice before they turn him loose as a journeyman. Same kind of thing. I think they'd want you to work on a real live boat before they turn you loose on a boat in the middle of the ocean.
Might be
And
smart.
you're the engineer, just saying, probably be a good idea.
So Mayor, what does
Yes.
that look like? You said stay on them about it. What does
Well, that
look like?
means, you know, so,
Reminding them, yeah.
letters to the editor. Whenever you run into someone from the board or someone asks you about the community college, you bring it up.
Got it. Okay.
I was joking in the meeting last Tuesday with Brigida Riesling, she's the current president. She and I have had this same conversation that you heard tonight every year for the last 6 years, and one of them was over drinks. I have made sure that she understood how important this was. Because if you want to be a community college that succeeds, you have to do these things. That's why Lynn Benton is arguably the most successful community college in the state, because they listened to the people around them and built everything around what they needed. So if you were a kid growing up in little old Brownsville and you wanted to learn more about how to better farm, Lynn Benton had those classes for you. Not only that, Lynn Benton would bring the classes out to the high schools so that peoples in the community could come and take courses at night in the things that they're interested in. They knew how to get a community, and in this case, get two counties to buy into what they were doing. And I'm keep trying to push that model along to
And our high
this.
school has a welding program that's affiliated with it, right?
Yes,
And kids bus in from Newport to learn welding
Yes.
here in Toledo. You
Yeah.
probably didn't know that.
No, I.
Yep.
Yeah.
and we need to expand beyond just welding. That's the big thing, is that there's more to boat work than just welding. When they started up the boat yard and Stu was around the port at that time, how many welders did we have to bring in from out of town? Because there wasn't anybody around here that could do it.
Yeah, and it's the same at Georgia Pacific.
Yeah,
It's great to have the programs because the kids aspire or people aspire to go there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, Georgia Pacific is hurting for electricians.
Hmm.
You know? So for those of you that don't know why the trades are a great way to go, I will just point out that my son, the industrial electrician, is currently making $51 an hour plus as an apprentice. When he gets his journeyman license, he will make more than my wife does, the pharmacist.
Strong proponent. of
No
trades.
college debt. None.
Yeah.
Just saying, if you like hard work and you've got a good brain on your head, it's a great way to go.
I made more money doing construction than a lot of people did in an 8-year college.
There you go. So anyway, with that, thank you all. And y'all have a great weekend and enjoy all our other meetings coming up. And is anyone going on Saturday to the GT house here? All right, I'll see you there. We'll be there together. I'm bringing my flyers tomorrow. Bring yours on Saturday if you have any left.
Water tank?
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm pretty sure we're gonna get questions.
Well, I did make a post on Facebook too.
I know, I saw that. Well done.
Put out that you do coffee with the mayor and that they could reach out to me if they had any questions. And I just tried to put out some key points.
You did great. Good job.
I don't see that it's gonna fail, honestly, but
I don't think it will.
Get out there.
But we've got to keep the message up. Yeah. All right, with that, we're adjourned.